Okay, for opening, Kyle, I thought you did a really good job, and actually both of you did this, Kyle and Matthew. I thought that you connected really well with the jury. It's good to make eye contact. One thing to do maybe would be to slow it down a little bit. I know I have a tendency to talk very, very quickly. In your head, you may think that you're talking slow, but when it comes out, it's quickly. Also, one thing to try to avoid in opening is don't make too many legal arguments. I get objected to a lot if I do that. That's kind of more for closing arguments, okay? But overall, I thought you both did a really good job. Okay, prosecution, case in chief. Ian and Philip, you guys spoke way too fast. I know you guys have had this problem, I guess, since what, August or something like that, so you guys know the facts really well. I don't, and at times it was just really hard to, because you both were speaking very, very quickly. You both obviously really knew the problem really well. You knew your facts, but it was just sometimes difficult to follow you. Ian, I thought your redirect was pretty good, how you did the before, after. I thought that was pretty effective. And Philip, I liked how you, during cross-examination, you would answer with a yes or no, which I thought was good. Instead of being kind of evasive, you said yes or no, and then went on to your explanation of your answer, which I thought was really good. Let's see, Stephanie, I thought you did a really good job objecting. I thought there were going to be a lot more objections. You guys should have objected a lot more. There was like some hearsay objections, and I don't know if they told you like what you could and couldn't object to, but there was a lot of hearsay that came in, and I was kind of waiting for an objection on that. But I liked how you said, like, give me a number. When you said that specifically, that really resonated with me. I really liked that. Because forcing the witness to say zero, I thought that was really good. Okay, Kyle and Tiffany. I thought that you guys did a pretty good job of keeping the pace really good. It was a little slower. Kyle, there was a little bit of leading, but that was pretty good. And I said, I liked the drama. I wrote that down. When you had the witness explain like the harrowing death of this person, like it was really dramatic. And you did a really good job explaining that. I thought that was really good. So, yeah. Oh, and I like how you, Tiffany, stuck to your guns about when they were questioning you about a knife. You would answer the question, but you wouldn't say yes or no. I just wrote you stuck to your guns about that, so I forget exactly what you said, but I liked it. Ibrahim, I liked how you approached the witness. You weren't too aggressive because it was, a child, so I thought that was really good. I thought you did a really good job of impeaching her with her prior statement, with the written statement. I thought that was really nice. Let's see, William and Tim. Tim, I liked your hat and your accent. William, I really, I wrote down that I really liked when you questioned your witness about whether the defendant ever asked to take over the ride. I thought that was really good. I thought you had a very, very good tone and pace of your voice, and I can't tell you how important that is to speak slowly and clearly so that the jury can understand what you're saying. I thought you did a really good job doing that. Tim, I thought you did a good job during cross-examination. You kept your cool. You didn't get too flustered when Matthew was asking questions. Matthew, I wrote that sometimes you would speak a little bit too quickly, but I liked how number one, your cross-examination was pretty organized, and number two, I liked that you used a lot of like transitional phrases. I thought you guys all did a really good job in that. Like, well, now we're going to move on to this. Okay, defense case in chief. Matthew, I wrote that I really liked your direct. It was super easy to follow. I liked how you used the demonstrative aid, and that you spoke a lot slower during your direct examination than when you did the cross. I thought it was just easier to follow, pace. Maisha, I thought you did a really good job. I thought you were a really good witness. Even when the state was coming at you quite aggressively, I thought that you just kind of kept your cool, and you had really good eye contact with the jury. Ian, I like your aggressive style, but sometimes you can get a little bit too aggressive. You get all amped up, and sometimes it was a little bit too shouty, which kind of took away from the questions that you were asking, because I thought that you were asking really good questions, but I think that at times you got maybe a little bit too emotional. Okay, Ibrahim and Amy, okay. One criticism I would have was that Amy, you went like into way too much detail of background information, and a lot of the times the answers to the questions were very long. And one way that the directing attorney can maybe break that up is like sometimes I'll have a witness and they'll just want to tell you everything in that one question, but you gotta like stop them, cut it off and say, okay, why don't I stop you there? Backing up, let's back this up a little bit, because if you just let them go on and on and on, it's kind of hard to follow. I don't know what portions of what she's saying is what I'm supposed to really be getting out of it, you know what I'm saying? I mean, Amy, you clearly knew, like, you knew everything about the fact pattern. I mean, you knew everything. It's just too much at one time. Maybe just break it up. Let's see. Okay. I thought that both you, Ibrahim, and William did a really good job. You kind of had a back and forth with objections. I like that. I mean, all of you, when you did object, you had really good reasons for objecting. So I really liked how you both wanted to argue about that, but specifically you two, I thought you guys both did a really good job with objections. And William, I thought that you, I liked how you pointed out the differences on the, I guess, the ride panel with pushing the button and pulling the lever. I really liked that. I thought that was really good. And I thought that you had a really good balance of being kind of like aggressive with the witness, but not too aggressive, not too emotional. So I really liked that. Let's see. Finally, Stephanie and Nancy. Nancy, I liked your costume. That was awesome. You also knew the facts really well. You had awesome eye contact with the jury. One criticism that I would have for you is when Kyle was trying to pin you down and get you to answer the yes or the no. By the time or the third or fourth time he's asking that and you're still kind of squirming, kind of makes you look non-compliant. You can answer like yes or no and then explain it, but if you're not answering his questions, to me it kind of like detracted just a little bit from your credibility, like you were trying to fight with him a little bit, you know? But overall, I thought you did a really good job. Okay, Stephanie, I thought that you had really good control over your witness. One thing that you did was you know, if he was going on and on a little bit, you stopped him and said, well, let's back it up. Let's talk about this. It was pretty focused. I like that. Sometimes you could get a little bit edgy even with your own witness. So maybe just kind of watch that, the tone of your voice, but your pace was pretty slow. It was good, it was easy to follow. So I really like that. Kyle, I thought that you did a really good job crossing. I wrote building up to the introduction of the prior written statement. I thought that was really good. You also were, you know, good at being aggressive while crossing, but not too emotional. And I like how you kind of caught the witness, I guess, towards the end where I wrote the mid-conversation, like, oh, so you're saying mid-conversation. I thought that was a nice catch. Okay, closing arguments. Ian, I really liked how you characterized the burden of proof in this, saying, you know, reasonable, it is a high burden, but it's not, I think you said, too high of a burden to overcome or something like that. I thought that was pretty good. I like that. I haven't heard that before. I also liked your use of the dry erase board during closing. I thought it was very organized. I thought it was really easy to follow. Again, the main criticism would just be maybe a little bit too emotional, raising your voice a little bit too much. I mean, you want to be an advocate, obviously, for the state, but maybe just watch going a little bit overboard at times. It wasn't the whole time. It was just at certain times. And that way, when you do inject that emotion into your closings at certain pointed locations, it'll kind of draw the attention to the jury, or from the jury. And I liked how you said, like, the choice is yours. I like that. Ibrahim, I liked how you tied the opening and the closing together, how you mentioned what your co-counsel said to what you said. I thought that was really good. I thought your tone was excellent. I thought your pace was excellent. You were just kind of like calm, cool, collected up there. Really easy to follow. You did speed up a little bit in the middle, but then you slowed it back down. I liked how you pointed out the dollar amount. I didn't even think of that. And you know, stuff about the money. Why wouldn't she have seen any of this money if she were involved in the scheme? I like how you kept repeating, that's reasonable doubt, because that's what we do. So, I liked how you erased the board. That was kind of awesome. Sorry, he's not going to go back and write everything back up there. But I really liked that. I thought that was a really good idea. And Ian, in closing, I would say that your rebuttal, although it was short, I thought it was effective. You just got up there and said, that's not reasonable doubt. But I really liked that. I thought you guys did a really, really good job overall, so you should be really proud of yourself.
Thank you. Thank you. Good. Me?
Yes. Oh, geez. I'll go last.
All right. Well, my name's Craig Fenton. I was admitted to the bar in 1992. Started work as an assistant state attorney, prosecutor. Did that for about 2 years. Did a whole bunch of trials. I think within 2 years I did about 100 trials. My first trial I had within like 3 months. And talk about going to the frying pan right away. It was really a life-changing experience, and I've got an indelible mark in the back of my head from it. Because I can remember staying up the night before and thinking to myself, I'm going to write out my direct, the cross, I'm going to write out my closing, my opening, my argument and rebuttal to the judgment of acquittal motion that's going to be coming, and I had it all planned, all scripted, and it all fell apart. It all fell apart because they got pled. Maybe some of them, I don't know. But eventually I did try the case, and it was almost as bad that time. I stayed up the night before, got all anxious, wrote it all out, and when it came to trial time, you know what? That script went out the door. It went out the door the moment I stood up and started delivering my opening statement. Not an opening argument, and a caution to the prosecution. If you take this on the prosecution side, remember that. You'll be admonished, you'll draw an objection. I know that's not the rules in the trial competition, but if you start arguing as a prosecutor in your opening statement, you'll get called to task for that. So be careful. I mean, good stuff. I mean, that came out of this side when it came to that opening statement. But you want to be slightly more analytical too. Passion's good, but as a prosecutor, remember, at least here in Florida, you're sworn not only to be an advocate, I mean, that's your duty to be an advocate, but you're also a minister of justice. So you're not out for the kill necessarily, you're not out for the win, you're out to see that justice is done. So you have to kind of take a step back from the passion you certainly want to feel. Now when it came to your closing argument, I thought that maybe it was a little too passionate, okay, on the closing argument from the prosecution side. You want to lay out your elements. Just say analytically, coldly analytically, I'm not, no passion here, there's nothing else like that. We didn't rush to judgment as is going to be our argument, right? We took our time, we were very analytical. Here are the elements. I thought the use of the dry erase board was good. It could have been better, however, had you put forth and set forth maybe the jury instructions. Say, this is what it takes to establish this crime, this crime, this crime. We have 3 crimes here, folks. Here are the elements. Here's the evidence you heard here today. And then fill in this on an ad hoc basis, right? I mean, you're not going to anticipate what they say, but fill that in on an ad hoc basis. And what's more, do it permanent, okay? Put the elements up there. So a clever guy like Abraham, seriously, because when I saw it up there and you stood up, you didn't say what you did. You put that down, and you put it away. It's like, what is this guy doing? I mean, I'm looking at it, I'm staring at it. But then you go and you start erasing it. It's like, oh, yeah, that's the way to do it. But don't open yourself up to that. Put the elements up there permanent. Here's this. Yeah. Here's that. And then, maybe erase see the marker. Put that. This is the evidence you actually heard, and tied into the actual presentation. But I thought, both of you guys, both of them were really good. I don't know, did you overhear what I had to say in the previous rounds about you making use of the courtroom space? And you did that. I mean, phenomenal. It was phenomenal. The way you guys, knew to stand here when you're doing your direct. Because in real life, the witness doesn't look at the jury every 5 seconds. They don't go, yes, and by the way, no, they don't do that. They look at the person asking the question. And certainly a teenager is not going to look at the jury. The teenager is going to be scared, whatless. In the first place, they're going to look at that person and go, contact him. See that person. So, you did, that was very, very effective. Now, what I would suggest that, when you're questioning somebody, obviously obviously, you don't want them to look at you, okay? But it's gonna be their natural tendency to do so. The way you get them to look at the jury is like you did. You cued him and said, would you please explain to these folks over here what you're talking about? It's sort of like, you know, look at them, but not really look at them. Look at the jury every now and then, because what you want to do as an attorney is you want to gauge the reaction of the jury, okay? You got to think on your feet. Maybe the jury didn't react too well to that last comment, that last statement, whatever it was. So you want to kind of follow it. Don't necessarily look and stare at the jury. Some of you overdid it just a tad. You kind of look at the jury like, hey, look at me. Look at the point I'm making. Now instead, maybe you want to do one of these numbers, like look at the witness, and kind of like look over this way, but kind of look down, like contemplative. I've noticed kind of within the rounds that I've judged so far, and I've judged the competition before, a lot of people like have this box, right? And their hands are moving in the box, no further than the box. Now you guys did a better job of that than I've seen in other rounds, and that you're up here, you're over here, and this, and that. But still, I mean, it's sort of like, you know, you look like automatons, right? Get the quizzical look. Or you can even cross your elbows and your hands like this, your arms. And it conveys something without actually saying anything. The other thing I'd say, too, is that I don't necessarily agree that every hearsay objection, everything that's objectionable should be objected to. You can bring it out even better on a cross-examination. Or, best of all, during your closing argument. Okay? By the way, prosecution, I'd be pretty careful about where you're going in that closing argument. You know, did they cross-examine that person? You're borderline stepping over bounds, because what you've done at that point in time is shift the burden to the defense. Because remember, in a criminal prosecution, the defense doesn't have a burden whatsoever. So be careful. I mean, I know you can't object in closing argument. That probably would have drawn an objection. Maybe even a curative instruction, perhaps even a mistrial. As for the witnesses, like I said, it's not realistic for the witness to turn every question. Certainly don't smile. A lot of you kind of smiled, you know, smirked, what have you. This is not the kind of situation where even a witness should be smiling, right? It's a murder trial. Gut reaction. Like that. Glazed donuts. Nice. You guys are like Oscar. But don't detract from your trial teams, right? I thought on this side the witnesses really posed what I thought was an appropriate, realistic cross-examination phase. You really put it to these guys, and they had a hard time. You flummoxed them in a lot of instances. And you guys, they really, to a certain extent, got the better of you on the cross-examination. And that's going to happen, okay? So you got to be able to think. Okay, what did you get? But for the most part, you brought it back. Brought them back around. So, I mean, what's more to say? I mean, I reiterate what you've already heard. You're doing a great job so far. Just by a show of hands, how many of you guys are seniors? Juniors? Sophomores? Wow. Hey, freshmen. All right. Well, that's amazing. You know, if you want to do this, obviously, obviously well on your way. Thanks.
All right, so let's see. My name's Bob Menarson. I was a criminal defense attorney for about 14 years, and I did a lot of, in my end of my career there, I did a lot of sex cases with children. So I want to point out that your cross was spectacular for a child. It was the way that you, Tiffany, how old are you? Yeah, you came across like a 12-year-old to me. It's like, and you treated her like a 12-year-old, and it was beautiful. I mean, you directed her the perfect way you do a child victim in the case. And your cross, who did the cross? It was perfect. You didn't push her. You were nice to her. And that's what you have to do, because at points in the trial, I will say that the cross-examination got a little wicked for a little too rough. Because if your witness is talking to you in a nice manner, respond in a nice manner. You can still make her or him look bad with your questions. You don't have to yell them. So think about the tone when you're doing your witnesses. See, I will tell you now that I don't practice criminal law any longer. I teach at Florida A&M College of Law, and I coach a trial team. So, I'm going to tell you your positioning was perfect. Exactly. This is where you should be when you direct a witness at all times. Right here. And you are all there. When you cross a witness, you get as close as you want to get to the witness. But you had the positioning, and you all did. The witnesses were phenomenal. Let's see, Mr. DeCamp, I thought your cross was, your direct was just great. I thought your opening was very good too. Your tone might get a little, you were getting really soft at some points, which was making it hard to hear. But other than that, I didn't have anything bad to say about you. Overall comment, when you do a cross-examination, short and sweet. Boom, boom, boom. Pretend you're like fighting. Jab, jab, jab. 3 to the chin, they're knocked down, right? So don't make long questions. It's like, so, you didn't do this, did you? And you didn't do that, did you? And you didn't do that, did you? Okay, then you argue all that in your closing. Just quick questions, and you get a yes or no answer. Because if you open it up, they're going to wiggle, which some of the witnesses did quite well. Quite well. I thought, although I was noticing, you guys work really well as a team because I saw the notes passing back and forth, and that's what you do if you have a team up there. And I saw you passing things, writing things. Great. I also will give everybody kudos. You took notes on direct examination. I know trial attorneys that don't take notes on direct examination, and they go up with a pre-formed cross-examination. You can't. You got to know what they said. And the notes made me very happy. Very, very happy. Stephanie, I love that you pointed out bad police work. That wins at every single trial in Orange County. You point out the bad police work, the jury will be on your side. So I just want to let you know that, all right? What else did I have? Matthew, you did the only thing that I wanted, you had a really good examination and you had a demonstrative. It would have been nice to have the witness come down and do the drawing instead of you. Because then the witness could have done all the markings and the jury would have seen that better. You're listening to her and you're circling. Bring her down. Let the jury see her. And let the jury watch her draw everything that you're doing. And who did the demonstrative and said, let the record reflect? Was that you? After someone drew everything on the demonstrative, someone said, let the record reflect? What was drawn? Oh, maybe, I don't know. Could be in another trial. I don't know. All right, now, overall, I thought you all did great jobs. Closings. Your closing, a little emotional at points, which I don't mind emotion. I've known some state attorneys that go crazy, and that's fine with me. The only thing I will suggest to you, do not make their argument in your first closing. Because you told me, like, I wrote, don't talk what they're going to do. Don't tell me what they're going to argue. You make your argument. Let them argue it, because if you make an argument that they don't argue, now the jury's got another argument to think about, and they didn't make it. Your closing, was it Ibrahim? Your closing was the epitome of a defense closing. It was the closing that I would do when I was in trial. You talked about the burden of proof. You harped on the burden of proof. You harped on putting elements together with the crime, and you destroyed their demonstrative. And it works, because I've done it before at trial. If they leave it up, it's fair game. And that did more for me. I was ready to stand up and applaud right there. That's a defense attorney strategy, and it works. So kudos to everybody. I thought you did a great job.